O meu nome é Ricardo Monteiro, sou um dos responsáveis por Quest dentro da Tech Data, sendo que somos distribuidores exclusivos da Quest em Portugal. Aqui no lado esquerdo do site tem os meus contactos, para caso após o webinar tenham alguma dúvida podem contactar-me. Em relação ao webinar, vamos ter o Alessandro da Quest a fazer a apresentação. E temos também cá o Pedro Silva, também da Quest. Também se quiserem, tenham alguma dúvida e não queiram pôr em inglês, podem pôr em português, que ele é português, por isso também facilita aqui um bocadinho a comunicação caso seja necessário. Neste webinar vamos falar do Toad e do Apex SQL. Pedro, queres acrescentar aqui alguma coisa, assim, uma breve explicação sobre alguma das soluções antes de começarmos? Só para dar aqui um breve enquadramento. Ok, força.
Sim. Novamente faço minhas as palavras do Ricardo, agradeço a vossa disponibilidade e o vosso interesse para estarem presentes aqui. Agradeço à Tech Data também a oportunidade que nos dá de falar um pouco das nossas soluções. Eu sou responsável da área de Information Management, onde estão todas as ferramentas de gestão, desenvolvimento, monitorização de bases de dados da Quest. E o meu colega Alessandro é o nosso pre-sales, é o nosso engenheiro com mais experiência na empresa. O Alessandro trabalha esta área de gestão de informação há mais de 20 anos, portanto o conhecimento dele é muito mais abrangente que a Quest, em termos do universo Oracle, em termos de todo o universo de bases de dados open source, é muito mais extenso e, portanto, cobre todas essas áreas. E eu estou a fazer aqui esta nota porque sintam-se à vontade para... eu julgo que o Ricardo tem forma de vos dar a palavra, ou até mesmo pelo chat, aqui a janela de chat, de colocar já questões que vocês gostassem de ver analisadas ou que gostassem de ver esclarecidas no final desta apresentação, ou até mesmo em futuras apresentações. Algo que vos trouxe aqui, provavelmente com alguma curiosidade e alguma necessidade mais específica, e por isso mesmo não temos que necessariamente ficar presos a uma agenda. O Alessandro tem a capacidade de improvisar. O Alessandro é fluente em espanhol, ele é italiano, é nativo italiano e também fala inglês. A apresentação vai ser feita em inglês, com aquele açúcar italiano, e da mesma forma que o Ricardo referiu, ele entende o português muito bem. Eu e ele brincamos muitas vezes, mas eu estou aqui disponível para ajudar a colocar alguma questão ou a traduzir alguma questão que vocês não se sintam tão confortáveis para fazer em inglês ou até mesmo em espanhol. Posto isto, dou a palavra ao Alessandro. Alessandro, you have the floor. Just to summarize, I gave them also the opportunity to send some questions that we can address in the end of the presentation, and yeah, go on. It's your floor now.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I want to start at the beginning with my presentation, but I have prepared other stuff for this specific event. Just want my desire is want to bore a lot of you because I prepare 155 slides and it's a very bored presentation, but you know, this is a joke. I want to start with the presentation, but I have prepared two labs just for sure the different tools we want to explain today. We start with Toad, but we talk about ApexSQL, not for all solution, but just the most important thing on Toad and ApexSQL solution family, because 1 hour is not enough to explain all or show you the most important thing about our solution. If you are ready, I start. So this is the presentation, and we talk about the actual universe on IT, and the database is in all level of our application, but something change is coming because commerce required a net count of transaction, and the systems become more critical, and the data is important. It's important to maintain the information available for the application, and all data is become centric in a specific area like ERP and so on. We are basically the different basically 3 types of database, but something new has happened in this year, and we don't develop only on Oracle, IBM, DB2, and SQL Server, but we adding in new database as well, like MySQL and Postgres, and the customer want MongoDB as well. So the actual flow is moving from classic database to free database, but it's not only this. This is the way, but more than the customer want adopt other type of database as well, and cloud database in cloud become and substantially the last frontier of database. In these scenarios, what are the customer concepts? It's very easy to understand and knowing this concept, because the first is the cost, is relative to infrastructure, about the on-premise or cloud licensing of software and database as well. Cloud cost, because if you migrate to use cloud, it's need cost, and research and develop, because it's necessary to improve new application and research new functionality to able and able the customer to understand and resolve their issues. Time to market is yes, it's important, because okay, all applications are ready 20 hours for a week, and is not possible, are unstoppable, and it's necessary to guarantee the time of the market of this application. And risk, what is the risk? The most important thing, risk our solution won't mitigate are relative to downtime, to resolution time, identify what is the problem about the issue, and security and compliance is a very important thing, because GDPR and other rules are applied on protect our data. Last opportunity is more oriented on the business, and if you are exposed on security, your application have performance issues, and some of the time are in have the downtime, you are lost the opportunity to sell a new doing a sale new opportunity. Lost customer attrition, and you are affected with the legal cost, and your reputable is damaged. Part of this solution, especially on SQL Server, about we talk about ApexSQL audit, is the right solution to verify the status of legal and compliance and security, and verify tracking all activity about the action made during when application running or the other processes running on the database. At the end, we have customers such as we want share our market and with the new, this new functionality, and help the customer to understand the new target and resolve their problem more fast possible, and not generate downtime on their application, identify all security or compliance issues. Well, in the main important company, we have two distinct person is a developer and DBA. Developer is the person develop and new application, and DBA is the person dedicated to control and verify the availability and identify the issues during the database or application issues, and we are able to help them with the solution for manage, for monitor, and for move data as well. So we start with the first word, and the first word is manage. In this case, we have a big portfolio about this for manage database. The first one is the database administration. We have tools is Toad, but ApexSQL as well is able to help you to manage database, to put your application in DevOps environment. We have tools data point to prepare data for data preparation. It means to prepare data for business analysis, and tools for performance monitor, because have the information about of performance, and understand what is the root causes of issues or degradation on database performance degradation. This is very important, and identify these issues very quickly is the best way to increase the potentiality of our company. Solution for database development and cloud migration and database replication, and at the end solution about sensitive data protection, GDPR specific. So we go at the beginning, talk about database administration. And the database administration have several activities to do. Is for database administrators is important. Automation, automatize the most usual task, the day-to-day task in one way is very easy. In tools there are all tools have this functionality now, and is automation. Automation is able to you to simplify all repetitive task. Just one click, you put your script, define the flow and necessary flow, and you are able to receive directly from Toad automation the report relative at the beginner check you are built. And the other important thing in the database administration are, for example, optimization, SQL optimization. We have a specific tool, and in the lab we see that for analyze and verify the performance all statement present in the database. Sensitive disclosure and the protection, yes, because it's possible to analyze and detect which field are sensitive, contain sensitive data, and protect them and track who use or read this information. Another thing is performance testing. Benchmark we show you in the lab is able to generate a sufficient load to testing your environment before you migrate your application on production, or before you move your database on a new environment. Is important to know have these informations are very important, because able to you to define is you are in the right way, or is necessary to change something on target database or target infrastructure to increase the performance, to have for not have future issue. And another thing is real-time performance. Real-time performance is related to Spotlight solution, and in this case we have other solutions specific for real-time is Foglet as well, and in this case this solution help you to understand and verify the status of performance status of your database. Cloud is the last frontier, and our solution able to you monitoring, move, and do all necessary operation to verify the status, migrate database on cloud as well, and developer as well in the cloud. So the first two application we show today is Toad and ApexSQL. Toad, you know what is Toad. Toad is one of the most important solution. Is born like and tools for developers, and help the developers at the beginning, but not only developers, but DBA, database administrators, and analysts as well. ApexSQL is able with the specific functionality. We see the different area covered by ApexSQL to able you in manage and develop as well your environment. SQL specific on very focus on database on SQL Server. So what is stored is very easy. Is an idea is a solution to enable you to help during code development, but not only. On only this is inside have a feature about debugging the application, your SQL, T-SQL, PL-SQL you are working on, verify and the status of performance of your database, and is able to you to share and start the first step to put your code in the DevOps loop. This is not only for developer or admin, but is possible to aggregate data, prepare data for a more deeper analysis, and optimize the SQL code, track the change made on your database, and data modeling in the last period, we acquired Irwin as well, and we adopt the Irwin solution for data modeling on specific target customer to analyze the environment, manage the relationship between the tables, and migrate their database from one specific database to another. And the last thing is performance is necessary, and to have this functionality to permit you to analyze the performance of your database in real time. So there are the Todd families are very big. We have different type of family is only that are related to specific database. The beginner is the Todd for Oracle, and the other is the first one. But we are developer the other solution like Todd for SQL Server, Todd for DB2, and at the last we have Todd Data Point for analyze or simplify the data access and preparation, and the Todd Edge to connect directly and use the same interface, same Todd interface to connect and develop application on MySQL and Postgres. At the end, Todd Data Modeler help us to identify the relationship between the tables. Substantially, we had different type of different edition about Todd. Is Todd for developer, Todd for database administration, and analyst for analyst. It means each version have a specific functionality inside, and this functionality help you to write code more fast and identify and tuning the code as well. This is an example of about Oracle Todd for Oracle edition, and we have several functionality inside of each version, and for SQL Server more or less very similar. There is a base edition with the basic functionality like database browser, debugging, coding, and formatting, and build the automation. So automation, building automation is included on the base edition. There are other an evolution about of the same edition, like professional is introduced code analysis and data generator are two specific functionality, or is for analyze the code and generate the data inside of the table. And then another level is expert. The expert edition is able to analyze and optimize the code. Developer suite and DBA suite have adding at expert to the expert version the functionality of benchmarking, and code tester is benchmarking for test the environment. Code tester is verify the application logical application execution. DBA introduce benchmark factor as well, and DB admin module is mean for very focus on database, and the spotlight for real-time analysis. There are a lot of functionality inside Todd, and it's possible for us to share the matrix with all the functionality. Is just for understand and identify which version of Todd is better for you, and better because cover all your necessity in development area and in manage and administrate database area as well. So there are a bit different, like Toad for SQL Server and Apex solution, because Apex solution have a specific plugin for SSMS, and but Toad is a dedicated solution for developer. Not need other plugins like ApexSQL, and is used for developer and analyze the activity on the directly on the database. So I stop sharing the okay, and I want share. Okay, another.
Let's take this time that you're switching to show the console and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe if give the opportunity to everybody to ask a question or two, or to share any idea. I don't know how many of the attendees are directly working managing databases or not, if this was valuable to understand the functionalities or not. You guys tell us, ask whatever. You probably sign up for the webinar looking for some specific information, and if we haven't talked about that, please let us know. Use the chat or unmute and give us your insight.
Yeah. So we are working on WWS. We are working on an Apex project. So we do a lot of PL/SQL development, and now we are searching for another IDE to do our development better, with automation, with better debugging. Currently, we are using SQL Developer. We're not very happy with it, so we're looking here for an alternative. So this has been very useful so far.
Okay. Thank you, Katarina.
No.
Yes.
Anyone else? Ok. Se quiserem perguntar ou partilhar em português, estão à vontade também.
Acho que não há perguntas.
Okay.
Podemos continuar.
O Alessandro então vai mostrar-vos um pouco o lado prático desta apresentação de PowerPoint, o produto. Eu gostava só de reforçar aqui uma situação. A dificuldade destes webinars de 20, 30 minutos é porque o universo de ferramentas que nós temos é tão grande que torna-se aborrecido para já falar do máximo de ferramentas possível, e ao mesmo tempo acabamos por não mostrar tudo o que conseguimos fazer com as ferramentas que temos disponíveis. Por isso há sempre o risco de vocês ou ficarem aborrecidos com a apresentação, ou de não terem visto algo que vos interessa. Por isso é que eu estava a insistir na vossa participação. Sendo assim, vou passar a bola ao Alessandro. Ale, you can proceed.
Okay, just probably I won't don't use the presentation because I want to show you our functionality present in our portfolio. I want to begin of Toad at the beginning. This is a Toad interface able to you to do the most important functionality on developer, on navigation, browsing the data, and so on. But I won't present all the other solution as well. This is a benchmark factory is important for create a test environment before you move your application on production. It's possible to capture and replay the transaction execution in your database, but in this specific case, I have create a typical TCP benchmarking, but very similar to standard application. At the beginning, you create and load the tables, necessary tables to do the benchmark, and the other step is related for the transaction. Substantially, you put a different transaction inside of TCP transaction mix, and you are able to put the the level of intensity of the execution of this specific query. For example, generation new order, payment transaction, very specific for like a transaction on the database. This is just the explain what is the functionality of this procedure. And you have the latency. This is important because if you want to emulate the customer activity, you need to put key time and thinking time. Key time is the time necessary to press the key and generate the transaction, and the tick time is the time necessary to the customer to thinking about the transaction and generate the transaction as well. So thinking time and key time is for emulation of OLP transaction. Is possible to set the transaction in a specific interval. So each transaction requires total value of milliseconds or no delay. No delay is related to batch. If you want to execute a batch, okay, no delay is necessary, and you should use no delay option to test this application as well. Okay, and user load. Another thing is user load. How many users you want to use to do this test? Okay, you start to 10 and 70, okay, or 200. You just put here the different interval or adding a single specific user load. Teaming is important to understand the time necessary, the duration necessary for this test. In this case, each iteration are required 5 minutes, and 35 minutes are for sampling. It's possible to collect as well some information about of the statistical execution of that. After that, you have the complete scenarios, and you only press here and run the job. When you run the job, you look in the message if all work fine, and it's bring up all necessary agent for and loading the data on the target database. And it's possible after that, when you finish the activity, compare the different report and verify if your test is good or not in relation of response time and transaction generated per second. And another thing, now the benchmark is running just to see if work fine. Yes, we starting the iteration and starting the activity, and you can see the total iteration is present at the moment. Okay, at the moment they generate data. What's up in the database? Very easy, because I'm going to Spotlight. Spotlight is the solution for monitoring the activity in the database. I want to use, in this case, Spotlight for analyze the performance on the specific scenarios. Usually, these scenarios is a small lab, not have a lot activity, and I want to put generate loading activity with benchmark inside of the database. In this case, this is the connection or databases. If you want, have more problem. Yes, it's true. It's the production environment, but I can navigate for the other machine present in this case under monitor with Spotlight. I have this specific machine, and I have two Windows and Linux machine as well, and different SQL Server database. This is on Linux, but is stopped, and is not available at the moment, and they receive the issues connection, and the relative machine is not possible to connect, and have as well information about VMware, because all of these machines are virtual machine under VMware SX, and I have a diagnostic server installed on this specific in this specific environment. So going to directly to the just a click on the heat map. It's possible to have drill down on the database, and it's possible to show different area. It depends of the architecture of the database monitored. In this case, we have session open on the database and performance health on the database as well. And we have information about utilization of CPU, CPU, and the number of total process utilized from SQL Server, system process, and users process. We have other information about the system, if the why we have a red message, because I just click here, have a lot of information about this error. Okay, I have a problem with the connection, but I have other problem like the agent, for example, is not running, or I have a lot of IO, and it's possible here. Just click, and it's possible to diagnose directly what's exactly happened for this specific error. It's possible to have a playback and going in the past and analyze what exactly happened in this specific period. And I see the status of file and information about session logging, and a bit summary about the activity for this specific database, if there is any blocking or deadlock, and have information about IO, and I can have a statistic about the execution of a specific query, and I'm able to analyze and verify the statement, the specific statement. Just for understand, it's possible to tuning the selected statement, and I have okay, tree top operation cost. It's possible to have the detail about that, make join, and cluster index and main join. So it's possible to view a detail about, and it's possible to have the percentage of, in this case, cost IO present necessary to execute this query. But we want to back real time, go to home and analyze to the other message as well. For example, database. this database don't have full backup, and this is great information for me because I never do the backup of this database. But I have another type of issues like this. Is related for IO because benchmark generate a lot of transaction, and the target database probably have an issues about the IO performance related to probably to disk performance. But I can see other information about not just the flow or other activity. I have detail about, for example, the memory utilization of this specific database or SQL activity. This is important for understand the activity or other thing like performance health, just for understand if we have issues on specific issues on the monitor database. In this case, okay, I have 100%, this is good, but I have wait time on, in this case, CPU and IO and network as well. So at the end, it's necessary to measure the IO latency as well, because if the latency become too late, it's necessary to change hardware, consider change hardware on your environment. Other information are relative to weight statistic, because they understand the most which weight event are present in your environment, just for show, for example, a network problem or write log problem, trace log, and other stuff. And weight event are specific in different categories as well, but I can analyze, for example, last hour, just for have an idea what exactly happened. And it's possible to have a lot of information about this event and have the percentage of this specific event on the total wait time. It's possible to verify the wait time for all a specific database or a specific application, and it's possible to have the trend and focus our attention on a specific area, not for all activity present or all application work inside of the database. Other information is okay, availability of the system, transaction log shipping or database monitoring, if mirroring, if you have. In this case, this database is not configured with this functionality, and we have a lot of information about all database present in SQL Server instance, live group, data file as well, transaction log, and it's necessary, yes, select, define what is the database. The same solution is, we have the same solution for Oracle, and it's possible in this case analyze very detail the all activity, all process present, and identify the main issues on the database. It's possible analyze the service as well, job SQL agent is running, which services are running, and have few detail about the specific service. View the status of the agent, if there is any cluster services as well, DCC, and full text research, if your database have this functionality enabled. Another thing is, yes, configuration. It's possible to view the actual configuration of this specific database, and it's possible to change the view the property, and it's possible sometimes if possible if the parameter is it's possible to change the parameter as well, and it's possible monitoring the information inside of the agent and SQL Server database as well. Dedicated connection established locally, and for example, in this case, we have log relative to agent. It's possible filter okay at the last or archive error logs present in the database. At the last, but not least, is important to analyze the workload. Analyze the workload for understand which database is affected and which weight event is specific we have in the for this specific database, the duration, and is relative to load generated for this specific database. This is the response of performance of our database. We generate the load with benchmarking, and we are able to measure the throughput, database throughput, and verify if we have this database is well configured and the hardware is well configured. So another important thing is verify when you test this environment, okay, optimize the and verify if the target database and target system respect the right configuration and the right performance. At the end, it's possible to analyze TempDB, and we have in this case one issue because okay, this is a very smart specific details about this configuration and this specific issue. You're able to configure or change the architecture of your database, move temp dev and temp dev, put it in autogrow, or change the configuration, the path, just for avoid any performance issue. More or less for this, okay, it's not all, but I want diagnostic, server dedicated, okay, not important. Overview, yes, SQL Server, Linux, VMware, and Windows. It's possible as well monitoring the operating system and have an idea what is happening on the target system, not only relative to database, but infrastructure level as well. It's very easy in this case because in the target we have only disk, but a lot of memory. Is not to use actually not to use just 2 gigabyte and half for the database. The CPU is not I don't have heterogeneization, but I have problem. Okay, is related because this server sometimes shut down without advise me, and this create a lot of issues. Okay, it's working, and now I want show you another solution. This for me is very interesting because in this case is optimizer can help you to analyze your environment and understand if there is any performance issues on.
Alessandro, sorry to interrupt you. We only have 10 minutes more before we go through this one. Any questions in relation to the previous one, the benchmark and the spotlight, those functionalities slash tools that are available? Do you want to ask anything related with what we've presented?
Just one question. This is not available in the development package, correct?
The whole solution or how we approach is modular. You can buy whatever suite or individual functionalities that you need in relation to either your type of work or database or whatever. So everything is very modular. You can choose then later on what really suits your needs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Temos ainda connosco 15 participantes, agradeço a vossa presença ainda. Vamos dar só mais uns minutos, até porque esta parte é muito específica relativamente ao SQL, e depois abrir novamente para uma ou duas questões e esclarecimentos adicionais. Go on, Ale.
Okay. This is one best of our tools, because it is important to analyze the performance relative the statement actual executed on the database. You can see, okay, you need to configure the right target is analyze the valid statement collected in plan cache. And in this case, you have collected 22 select, 3 insert, 7 update, and 1 delete. Okay, this is just for example. But the interesting thing we can see here, if we do optimization, because here I command 11 index, this 11 index improve 10 of the all statement analyzed, and the improvement relative of the 44% of the cost, and is a relative IO cost 44, and CPU cost 31. This is two different workload generated with a without performance generated with a without this index. So we have a reduction in cost level, IO, and cost CPU cost as well. We because this tool capture the transaction, analyze, propose index, and optimize and look if there is any optimization to do the specific query. And in this case, it's possible to view which index is possible to create, and for this specific query captured operation, because I see query update captured from the database, is possible to have an evidence of the reduction in cost, CPU, and IO, in this case, for this specific query. And in this case, for this specific scenario, SQL 27, is possible to create two specific index, and it's possible to optimize the other query, just create an index specify in this area. You are able, in this case, to have the detail about this index, analyze what is the effect query, and it's possible to view the plan changing using the index or without the use of the index. In this case, SQL Optimize create basic scenarios and able and test this query for you. You are able to create the both index, and it's possible to test this query again and verify, and the tools compare the results generated with without index, and you are able to verify the gain in performance just in this specific for these specific scenarios. But not only this, another important thing is relative if you have affected other statement. For example, this statement cost reduction is very tiny, but you increase the CPU utilization because probably is not right good, and or is necessary not only index, but this statement need not only index but need tuning as well. So in this case, you have an idea, yes, about of increase of performance, but no, not all. If the specific index created have affected and the other statement, you have this info as well, and this info is important because able to decide to generate this specific index or not. This is not only optimization, but is like verify for you change made made with the creation this index are better or not. Is 364 angle overview, and it's not easy to have this kind of solution running analyze, and you can have an idea, an overview of the impact generate with the creation of the index. It's not all better when you create index. Sometimes the index creation affect the other query, like these two examples, and you are able to decide if okay, I gain a lot of this query, but a lot in CPU utilization for this and this, but probably I need to understand and verify why this query is generate this kind of problem. And here I have the generation script for index creation, and I need to put the target, the right table space, the right schema, and is able for you create the script. And the last one, just because I reserve the last one is just in case. This is Apex audit. It's the solution to verify auditing directly the database. It's possible to define and configure different filter about, for example, a specific database. In this case, you have a list of action you want track, for example, alter or create. In this case, I set this option for you, or execution, DML execution, or query directly to a specific for all database in this case, but it's possible to analyze the sensitive information as well. And it's possible to have a list of table and sensitive field as well. In this case, it's possible for you define which of sensitive column you want product, and in this case, this solution help you on this kind of operation. the mix of this ApexSQL audit help you to identify sensitive column present in your database, and mask is possible help you to masking the data if you want to move this data directly from a production database to a test environment or another or developer environment. It's a very fast explanation of this these tools, but okay, I cut a lot of going directly deeper on the product. In this case, I have generated 2 different reports. With the preview, I can see the operation executed inside of this database, and it's possible to have other filter generate other data and view which application, for example, database, put a specific filter. Yes, I want this. Which schema? Okay, DBA. Okay, which application are currently working on this database, and have a filter on a specific application to verify what exactly they are executed in this moment. And other thing, no, it's not, don't want. Okay, another thing is have a detail, but it's possible to have as well the information before and after, and it's possible to identify what is the right database, and is possible to have the information of a specific table. For example, I want okay, G item or a lot of this, and it's possible to track the activity, and when the value of this field on insert, update, or delete of this specific field, monitoring this specific action for this specific table. It's more related to understand who change the value, and what is the previous value and the new value, the new updated value on the target field in this case. Just put apply, and he track this activity for you. Probably I have finished. I don't know if there is any other question.
Sim, pronto, estamos aqui a chegar ao fim. Quem tiver aqui alguma dúvida pode colocar, ou por chat, ou fazendo o unmute.
Enquanto o pessoal escreve, deixem-me só, porque eu saltámos logo para a parte da apresentação, deixar aqui um overview. A Quest já existe, ferramentas como o todo já existem há mais de 20 anos no mercado. Portanto, nós às vezes corremos o risco de estar a passar as coisas assim como se toda a gente já conhecesse e soubesse, e de facto depois ficam coisas por esclarecer. Mas passar a ideia que há pouco eu estava a explicar à Catarina Esteves, já não sei, temos aqui 2 Catarinas, não sei a quem respondi. Portanto, o que nós temos são uma visibilidade, uma abordagem de 360 graus a toda a gestão de informação, que vai mesmo desde o início do desenvolvimento e da forma como vamos estruturar a base de dados, depois à gestão, à otimização, à replicação, à migração. E o que o Alessandro aqui procurou fazer foi dar a resposta com ferramentas à maioria das necessidades, que em primeiro lugar são pessoas diferentes às vezes ao longo da vida de uma base de dados que programam, cada uma com o seu estilo, cada uma com a sua maneira de organizar e de fazer o desenvolvimento, e depois isso no futuro acaba por gerar complicações na gestão da base de dados. ou também diferentes tipos de bases de dados, desde proprietárias a open source, portanto, o que as nossas ferramentas permitem é trabalhar mais ou menos com um template de uma forma standardizada, independentemente das pessoas, independentemente do tipo de base de dados que estamos a trabalhar, há um critério sobre o qual toda a gente trabalha e que torna tudo mais fácil. Depois temos, por exemplo, ferramentas como o benchmark, que permite fazer o teste, por exemplo, e perceber qual é que será o impacto daquilo que eu estou a programar ou que estou a desenvolver, ou das transações que esta query vai originar. Com o Benchmark Factory podemos puxar e simular muito mais utilizadores a fazerem essas transações. E depois temos as ferramentas de performance monitoring como o Spotlight, que nos mostram não só o que está a acontecer em tempo real, mas também utilizando o Benchmark Factory perceber que problemas é que eu vou ter no futuro da forma que as coisas estão estruturadas. Vou precisar de mais memória, mais processador, enfim, perceber até inclusive como reorganizar a informação pode ajudar-me a poupar dinheiro no futuro. E isto ajuda-nos a desenvolver também de uma forma muito mais otimizada e muito mais, acaba por ser como um coach que nos ajuda a tornar muito melhores naquilo que nós fazemos. E portanto, temos essas ferramentas todas, são módulos, quer no universo Apex, quer no universo todo, temos muitos módulos e depois são organizados em suites, como vocês viram o Alessandro mostrar no PowerPoint. Cada suite, a developer, a expert, olha mais às necessidades nós aqui na Quest usamos a expressão persona, o tipo de role que a pessoa desenvolve na organização e na gestão de informação, e metemos lá dentro essas funcionalidades. Mas não quer dizer que uma pessoa que faz uma coisa faça só aquilo, que precisa de outras ferramentas, e por isso vendemos também e conseguimos conceber o licenciamento de uma forma a que seja customizado em função das vossas necessidades. Da minha parte, terminar dizendo que, sem qualquer tipo de compromisso, porque nesta fase, especialmente até inclusive de pandemia e tudo mais, em que toda a gente teve que se adaptar muito rapidamente e trabalhar a partir de casa e há tantas necessidades, as organizações ainda não perceberam bem onde é que está o orçamento disponível e para onde é que vão investir, e nós estamos só a dar-vos ideias e ajudar-vos para o futuro. Dizer que qualquer uma destas ferramentas, bem como o nosso suporte da Quest e da Tech Data, neste caso da Quest através de pré-venda, do Alessandro e de outros colegas meus, podemos ajudar-vos com provas de conceito e com versões de testes estendidas no tempo, em vez de serem os normais 30 ou 60 dias, podemos ir até 90 dias, podemos adicionar funcionalidades, fazermos provas de conceito, ajudarmos a organizar-vos as coisas de uma maneira a que desde já, sem custos, vocês consigam provar ou não a necessidade de ferramentas como as que vocês viram. E, portanto, a vossa participação aqui, só pelo interesse demonstrado, já nos merece esse respeito e portanto, façam favor de usar e de abusar da nossa disponibilidade. Digam-nos que tipo de projeto ou que prova de conceito gostariam de fazer, analisando que tipo de ferramentas. Eu próprio vou gerar depois versões estendidas desses produtos e agendar até tempo com o Alessandro e fazermos reuniões um a um e ajudar-nos a fazer esse teste individualmente. Ok? Fica a nossa disponibilidade e passo de novo a bola ao Ricardo. Agradeço também ao Alessandro a apresentação, mas passo a bola ao Ricardo e à Tech Data.
Obrigado.
Dando-vos ainda a possibilidade de colocar questões.
Sim, sim.